Okay, so welcome to this corner of my kitchen again. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about the gut, and I'm going to show you how to prepare really simple recipe for a fermented food called sauerkraut. Okay, for me, the most important thing when it comes to health is that it's got to be easy. Health equates ease for me. So if it isn't easy, I'm probably not going to do it, and therefore I'm unlikely to recommend it to somebody else. Okay. The thing about the gut is that it is the brain. It's actually known as the second brain. However, I personally refer to it as the primary brain because it's the feeling brain. So when we are often asked how we feel, we may think that we're fine, but the bowel can be telling us all sorts of other things, okay? So it's important to listen to your bowel because it is essentially telling you how the brain feels, and that's why one of the previous videos I actually suggested, and I don't know, I may have taken it out, I think I did, I'll have to show it as an outtake later, but I was actually suggesting that a really great way to trigger someone could be to ask them how they're feeling and get them to describe their bowel. Okay, so are they feeling a bit stuck, a bit constipated, a little bit loose, a little bit dehydrated? Because actually the nature of, so I've worked in the detox industry, specifically colonic cleansing, for approximately 12 years now. And I talk to people a lot about their bowels and about their bowel movements, okay? Now, a lot of people, there's a misconception that people think, oh, I don't have a problem. So I often say to people, oh, how often did your bowel move, blah, blah, blah. Oh, don't have a problem with that in that area. In fact, it's the opposite, okay? Now, I just want to get really clear here. For anyone who is living with a loose stools and loose bowel, essentially, it isn't the opposite of constipation. In fact, it's actually a worse form of constipation. The thing is that's happening with your bowel right now is that it's dehydrated. And it's so dehydrated and it's so accumulated with this stuck debris along the sides of the colon that your bowel can't even get up the energy to form a movement, okay? It's dehydrated, it's atrophied, and it's become very lazy, probably because you use something like tea or coffee first thing in the morning to have an elimination. And that's what I call a lazy bowel. The natural peristaltic motion that would keep that bowel soft and well hydrated and in a state of expansion and contraction is no longer there. Okay, it hasn't needed to be there for a while because every morning you poison yourself and your body just goes, get rid of it now. Okay, so that's what's happening when we have a very strong caffeinated drink first thing in the morning. And even then, many people many years down the line actually find that even with their morning poison, even then their bowels still don't eliminate because they have gotten themselves into a tricky, sticky situation. So a really good healthy bowel would be living with about 2 pounds in weight of good bacteria. Now, I often describe that as if you think about a bag of sugar, they're usually about a 1 pound bag. Okay, and so really, if you think of every single granule of sugar in that bag, you've got 2 of those bags, or should have 2 of those bags worth granulated good bacteria in a really good healthy gut. However, here's the thing. Most people these days are living with less than 25% of that. So realistically, you're probably living with a quarter of one of those bags rather than 2 full bags. Okay. And the problem with that, or the reason actually, let me just start with that. So the reason that we are living without our appropriate amount of good bacteria is, of course, number 1 killer, sugar. I've got to be honest with you. I know I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Sugar is acid. It's very acidic food, whether it's in the form of just a refined white sugar, tropical fruit, or the dehydrating carbohydrates that we eat on a daily basis. They're all slow poisons, okay? The nature of acid is heat, inflammation, eruptions, erosions, corrosion. We already talked yesterday about how when we put acid into our bodies, it starts to corrode the fine linings, and then we create what we've come to know as leaky gut. Now, the thing with leaky gut is a thing in and of itself, okay? But the real problem, we talked about the feces leaches out of the rips and tears that have accumulated as a result of the onslaught of toxicity, and acidic toxicity at that. Now, the thing is that I didn't go into details of what actually happens as a result of that toxic shit running rampant in our systems. And it's what has come to be coined as an autoimmune disease or an autoimmune condition. And that can look like any number of things, okay? So in Western conventional allopathic medicine, a number of these autoimmune conditions are completely confusing the medical establishment because they don't understand the nature of the holism of the body. They don't realize that there is such a thing as leaky gut, and they don't realize that as a result of leaky gut, the feces that is running rampant in the body is actually, this is what we mean by body attacking itself. It's the poisons in the body that shouldn't be running around. It's more than just free radicals now. It's actually the product that we wanted to eliminate has escaped, and it's causing havoc in the bloodstream. It tends to attack then the endocrine system, and people will then be experiencing things such as fibromyalgia, lupus, ME, MS, and all sorts of different kinds of cancers around the body as a result of leaky gut. So one of the most important aspects of the awakening medicine process is to heal your gut. It isn't a quick process, and it doesn't happen overnight. A lot of people these days are moving into more of a plant-based diet. I have been predominantly plant-based, a strict vegan, since around 1995. And during the process of this, I found that it isn't necessarily the best diet for a healing system. Now, If we were in a complete state of health and we'd never damaged the body in any way, shape or form with sugars and acids and toxins, if we didn't have to breathe in nanoparticles of heavy metals every day in the form of chemtrails, in the form of pollution coming out of cars, planes, trains, automobiles, if we weren't being attacked with this level of toxicity every day on a daily basis, then we might be able to get away with being predominantly plant-based. However, the internal workings of our bodies have been stripped bare. It's red, it's raw, it's inflamed, eroded, it's corroded. We need to start using the beauty of the animal kingdom, animal-based foods in their organic state, and giving thanks for the healing properties that meat can bring to your flesh and bones. So I never ever suggest that people eat meat in an unconscious way. Okay, there's nothing worse, honestly. However, when we begin to incorporate a little bit of conscious consumption of fat and flesh, we can really start to heal in a very, very dynamic way. So for this reason, I recommend chicken broth, bone broth, and, making sure that you get plenty of good fats in your diet to help to start to soften the bad fats. Okay, that's what we mean by eat fat, get thin. You start to soften the bad fats, and it's the only thing that can, aside from fasting. So either you don't eat and you just burn stored fat, or you can eat some really good healthy fats. That's things like flax, chia, avocado, coconut, nuts and seeds, as well as organic meats and their broths. Okay, butter. For me in particular, goats products work better than dairy because I was always intolerant to dairy. And so that's why, becoming vegan, I actually had really, really incredible first part of my healing process, because I was intolerant to dairy. However, I had started using it again, as we do, in a non-conscious and addictive way. Very incredibly addictive dairy. In fact, cows give off morphine-like substance. Any mammal that gives milk to their young, during the process of lactation, there's like a morphine-like substance that is released, gives us this moreish kind of addictive quality to wanting to have that creamy, sort of goodness. So very, very quickly then, like I said, it's got to be easy, it's got to be quick. We're making sauerkraut. You can use white cabbage, red cabbage, or a mixture of both. You can also use other vegetables. If you've got a glut, you can add things like kales, those sorts of things. I have already cut up one small cabbage. I'm going to add to it best part of this other one, but I'm probably not going to put all of it in. And to that, to one sort of medium-sized cabbage, I will add a tablespoon of salt. So I've added already about half a tablespoon, and that's actually really more like a dessert spoon, probably. Just not heaped or anything like that, but you want it to be enough to really draw the vegetables' waters, its own waters out. Okay. Right, so here we have lots of lovely red cabbage, one of my favourites, apart from the way it makes your fingers go red. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. This is a tablespoon. I've already added half a tablespoon, a little bit more because I'm actually doing slightly more than just one, probably medium-sized cabbage. And I already put half of it on because the beauty of it is that you can start to put half of it on and let the salt just start to do some of the work for you. What we want to do is massage now the salt into the cabbage and encourage the salt to start to reduce down the amount of cabbage that we're using. Now, in case we run out of time, I'm just going to talk you through, because this process can take a few minutes, okay? So we're not going to have time to do the whole thing. Once you've started to really get the water out of the cabbage, okay, you'll be able to squeeze it and you'll have a lot of water. Now, you've probably heard, as I had for years and years, oh, vegetables are mostly just water. You think, really? I struggle to believe that. I mean, but you will be shocked to see how much water comes out of your vegetable. It really, really is, 70 to 80% water, okay? But we have to encourage that to come out.